You may come again, damn. Listen to that. Bang, 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 rang, da, 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 dang, da, dang, da, da, dang, rang.
Early and on time. Be early and on time.
Da, 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 rang, da, 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 da. You think it is a wind-up thing with I? You think it is a grind-up thing with I? You think it is a bacchanal thing with I? Well then you lie. You think it is a 1 month thing with I? You think it is a 2 months thing with I? You think it is a season thing with I? Well then you lie. I never come in a business that clean and out of business. What the hell? What is this? And it's a them thing bad for business. How come the people accept this? And nobody never correct it. Guys, you get up and see if you're interested. I'll preach and time to practice. You may know every day me read, every day me write. Songs I'm singing is all about life. We need music like we need Christ. In the morning, in the night. Season finish and you take off your light. Another music going to ignite. No part time, you doing it for life. All that wrong, we come to make right. I said, you think it is a wind-up thing with I? You think it is a grind-up thing with I? You think it is a bacchanal thing with I? Well then you lie. You think it is a 1 month thing with I? You think it is a 2 months thing with I? You think it is a season thing with I?
Well then you lie. Welcome to episode, welcome to episode 195. It's a 1 month thing with I. You think it is a 2 month thing with I? You think it is a season thing with I? Well then you lie. Welcome to episode 190. I feel it's either 194 or 195. You think it is a counting thing with I? You think it is a preparation with I? Boy, bye. Why you just rolling in on me? Bye. Good night, son. Bye. I love you. All of a sudden, every night you don't come and say good night. Yeah, I'm recording you come out good night. How was the first week of school?
Tyron, don't make me go back.
Boy, bye. Go in your bed. This man don't come and check me. When I in here, you don't come and say nothing. All of a sudden, he comes to say good night like a camera. Boy, bye. You don't say no good night every night. What I was talking about again, I think it's episode 195 as we slowly turn the corner towards 200. This okay? 194, Russian the Brush. Welcome to episode 194 of the Corey Shepherd Podcast. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Welcome to all the new listeners. All they feeling, all they going. Well, you see one man done talk about his week back to school, right? And as I say, the week back to school, I think the parents is the one who suffered. Last week was very, very rough on me. You see that driving through traffic, and that as soon as you drop them, it's time to pick them back up. Anybody have a number for a yellow bus? I need a yellow bus. I can't do the drop and pick up thing too much. But first weekend, fatty boy, men settling in, parents settling in. Paula Stacy is back out to school. We're back on the grind, September grind, right? And it's amazing how quickly, when September come, Christmas is started swinging, you know what I mean? So salute to NPAT and everybody in the Parang Association or all Parandero, whether it's a rum side or a true Parang side. Men warming up, men tuning in, you know what I mean? Saturday night I got a call to go by my good friend Majo down in Blue Basin. What is Blue Basin or Bagatelle? One of the two. To play a little music. It's nice to pick up with men like Boy and Scaro. No, Scaro never come. Boy and Molly Berry and these fellas, you know what I mean? Nice time. So I'm officially in Parang mode. I'm looking for a Parang side. And when I say looking, right, I want it to be known that I'm not it's not like a whole lot of doing to say I'm looking for a Parang side. I just put it out into the atmosphere and hopefully somebody called me. But if I wasn't sure about moving back in town, I'm sure about it now after that first week of school. So I'm glad I'm here and I'm finding my bearings back in town again. I want to tell you, like a blast from the past, right? When I was a young man, I used to go by a gym in St. James named Darway Gym. And if you're from St. James, you can remember Darway Gym, right? with those rusty old iron, you listen, cast iron, it is where you're going and lifting the biggest man and the strongest man in the, the biggest and strongest man in the gym was a man by the name of Emerson and a fellow by the name of Crazy Paul. You know, life had to be good when your nickname is Crazy Paul, right? You just picture Crazy Paul in your mind, but Crazy Paul, them lifting a crazy amount of weight. And I bounced around, guys, at a young age, I was in the gym, and then, well, it doesn't show, right? It don't really show, but you had to take my word for it. But I find my way right back to Long Circular Gym, which is home base, and back to training with a guy by the name of Chana. You see, you had to be in and around St. James, and Chana is like old compre man, right? You had to be around these parts to know why people end up name Crazy Paul and Chana and these kind of things, right? But back to training with Chana, and it feels good to be back up on this side. And I realized too that before I jump into the topics of the week, right? I used to say that because we in Chaguanas, you know, there's be plenty effort. I remember the last Cooler Fete we went. We had to leave home all over the morning at a breakfast party, right? So all over the morning, we in a ride share 1, 2 the morning to come up the road to meet my partner, Damien. And I said, girl, I ain't know if this Chaguanas thing. I ain't going no more of these breakfast party, you know, because that was probably Rice and Rose or Soca or one of them. And I say, I ain't doing this again. I feel like I'm leaving home early morning. I'm tired. I used to enjoy breakfast parties more than quote-unquote regular parties. Because I was a kind of morning fella anyway, so I could get up in the morning, do what I had to do, and not lose the whole day. Like when I fit in the night, I waking up 6, 7 the next day. I can't take that again. 6, 7 p.m. that is. But I realize it had nothing to do with living central as age. It's just being old because I live in town. And I ain't do one thing, not one thing had happened since I live in town. It's not like if I leave it home. Just the way I was feeling when I was in Chaguanas, some people call me to leave home is the exact same way I feel it now. It's sad. I'm embracing my old age. Now, Trinidad and Tobago is a place where school reopening is always come with a little bit of sauce, right? It's always have a little bit of sauce when schools reopen because when time school closing, between tutor, the Ministry of Education, the Parent Teachers Association, whoever in opposition, and whoever is the third parties, everybody, the occupational health and safety people, everybody is be earmarking schools and the amount of work that had to be done in schools, right? And then the ministry, as politicians would tend to do, is come out and say, well, here was the situation. We will get a fix. And over the July-August vacation in particular, schools tend to take on either major repairs or rebuilding or adding wing, of course, because children going to be home for 2 months and it's the time to get the job done. Now, if you ever deal with anything where construction is concerned, 2 months is an aggressive timeline to do anything in construction. Even home by you, 2 months is kind of aggressive, right? If you had to add on a bedroom by you or do some renovations, 2 months, you know how the 2 months is go. A day the man show up, he ain't come, rainfall, they had to thing you had to do over your roof. It tends to stretch out a little longer than normal. And I can't imagine while a corporation or the government think about the same kind of problems with a man, we had a plumber in St. James, right? I'm not going to call any names. But he was famous for coming by you, busting your wall to open to fix whatever pipe it is, and then riding out. Anybody from St. James know the name, right? He used to bust your wall and then he gone. Because he taken about 5, 6, 7, 8 different work. And he know when your wall bust, you ain't calling no next plumber to fix that. So what should be a one-day job? He think it's just a one-day job with he taking about a week to finish that work, right? They also had a mechanic on Anderson Street in St. James. When you reach by him in the morning, I ain't calling no name, right? But what he used to do is open everybody bonnet and like disconnect something. So no matter what you come to fix, you can't move. So it's a whole lime hole there and Anderson Street by him. Call name, I go whistle. But in a big, when you're dealing with big contractors and things, you're not going to have them kind of issues, right? Because you're dealing with people who are big staff and, but they will still run into issues or can run into issues where they're going to be cost overruns, they're going to be delays, weather. It's all kind of different things happening. So I saw last week a clip. I can't remember if I talked about it last week or not, but a clip with the Minister of Education. Who is Minister of Education again? Ryan Gadsby Dolly. I hope I have the right name. I'll correct it if I don't have it, right? But I think it was her. And a little bit of a face-off with Saddam Hussein and a lady who would have been the head of the Parent Teachers Association, I want to say. No, Ryan Gadsby Dolly. Oh, why am I saying it? I have all this wrong. Ryan Gadsby Dolly are saying here as community development. Who the hell is the Minister of Education? You think it is a preparation, you think it is Minister of Education. And let me tell you something, right? Until I get my stuff fixed here, I can't really edit. Yeah, she's Minister of Education, man. What I was saying. I see in Minister of Education here listed as Ryan Gadsby Dolly. But when you Google her name, she's showing as culture. So maybe it's a reshuffle or something. But I saw a face-off between her and Saddam Hussein, who is the MP for the area over a school in Barataria. I think it's St. George's, is it? And they had to move the school to UTT in Valsayn because of the amount of issues they had with the school, and it ended up being a whole situation when they went back because they called for the opening of the school, and it was clear that the school wasn't ready to open. They was complaining about rat droppings all over the place, rusty furniture, parts of the school unfinished, and the minister now put in a situation where she had to defend this thing, and it's a rough position to be in. I would imagine that whoever is her second and her third and her support people, and then when she reached back in the car, people must get good cuss up. You know what I mean? People must get good cuss for embarrassing the woman. But it's clear that the school wasn't ready to open. And it tends to be a normal, every September, like I could earmark an episode in September where we'll talk about this. I see in here, frustration at Mount Hope Secondary, right? This is on September 3rd. This is from the Express. A group of parents of students attending Mount Hope Secondary School said yesterday that their children are returning to a facility with a plethora of structural issues. The parents believe that they're pleased to the Ministry of Education for better learning conditions at the 52-year-old school last term. During the July and August holidays fell on deaf ears as they claim nothing was done by the ministry to address any of their concerns. A group of parents led by interim president of the school's Parent-Teacher Association, Merrill Rodney, and tutor President Martin Lumpkin gathered outside the dilapidated-looking school in Mount Hope to voice the disappointment. Rodney said the school's ceilings and classroom furniture were infested with wood lice and that the OSHA people had cordoned off the part of the school because it's a health hazard. Part of the stairwell rotting away. The children are the ones who suffering. My daughter is in Form 5, and because they cordon off the area, it will affect her, and this is her last year in school, Rodney said. The frustrated father said that students were in danger of being electrocuted in the IA block. That is industrial arts, right? In the IA block because loose wires were exposed in the classes, which also had the tendency to flood. Sounds good. Rodney said that both he and the parents have written to the ministry to have the issues addressed. Apart from the structural issues at the school, he said there were no cleaners to maintain the premises. We have to come and clean up this school and everything. It's not fair. We are the only school that doesn't have MTS maintenance, and it's very appalling, Rodney said. Lumpkin said a part of the IA block was cordoned off by the OSHA agency, also issued improvement notices for various areas of the school. The principal had to shut down one block because the ceiling in 3 out of the 4 classrooms in the Form 3 block had collapsed, and she had taken her care of duty seriously. Is the Ministry of Education taking their duty of care when it comes to the school? She had to find classrooms to house the children, he stressed. So it's almost more the same. Like, coincidentally, I had a meeting. I remember Neola Zama. I had a meeting with Neola this week, and I was telling Neola, I was looking for some information to send to Neola. And when I plan out these episodes, I typically have a little PowerPoint. So when you see me struggling to read, it's usually a PowerPoint or the papers I'm trying to read from, right? And when I pulled it up, I saw PowerPoint for last year, or if it's in last year, it's year before. Or whatever year we come out of COVID. If it's not last year, it's year before, when schools had reopened. And it was the same exact thing we come here and talk about, where they had issues with the reopening of a school at the time. Also, you could almost mirror this, that every time you're going back out to school in September, which is the longest term coming off the longest vacation, you tend to have major issues like these. And the thing about it is this: it will always be a a boasting point for the Minister of Education to say, okay, well, we're going to get all schools fixed. I guess that's what you had to say, right? When you read all the proposals, all the construction companies send you this, that, and the third, you had to come out and say that, like, if you know what I mean, we have it under control, I suppose. Well, I still say as a minister. And it's almost like the opposite is the case as well, where the opposition, whoever going to run against, not necessarily the official opposition, but whoever running against, or the anti-government people or anti-party in government people, they're going to use this as the opportunity to come and say, hey, only and only doing that, which Saddam Hussein, I find Saddam Hussein was, I mean, Gadsby Dolly was under some pressure in the exchange, right? And Saddam Hussein, I feel, was being a little kind. It looked rough, you know what I mean? But he had us a jam there, and he was just basically asking over and over, well, Minister, why are we here? Is it clear that the school not ready to open? Why are we here? Why didn't postpone the opening and so on? And the minister under pressure. Point I'm making is this, right? I feel like sometimes we get so focused on the thing and the politicizing of the thing or the who do good and who do bad, that it's almost like we forget the children in the mix. You know what I mean? It's almost like it seems to be that we in this position every year and nobody willing to come together and say, all right, let me figure out how we could do this. 2 months is clearly not enough to do these things. Some of these schools is 50 years old. For instance, I remember going to Newtown, boys. Salute to everybody who went Newtown, right? So salute to everybody who claimed they went Newtown too, who never went no Newtown, right? It seemed to be a popular thing to do when you went Romilly's and thing to say you went Newtown, right? But Newtown boys, when I was there, was a very old school, right? And it was a common thing in classroom for pigeon droppings because them things was built in the colonial times. The same thing we was trying about changing on coat arms. It was those types of buildings, right? Very, very high ceilings. The schools used to be built just like kind of like churches, where it was about the acoustics and getting your voice out, and it was about air flowing through the building. If you notice, a lot of the ways those buildings were designed is really so that there are good air circulation and good acoustics. But that was long before it had microphone like these. Like, I'll tell you this, the acoustics in this room, terrible. I can't stand to hear it. But when I listen back to the episodes, it does sound like that at all, because we have good microphone now. Like, even, I keep following Vibes Cartel, right? Even Vibes Cartel are seeing, he was in Panama recently, and they show him recording a song with his son. And if you remember back in the day when you go to studios, right? If you ever went to a studio, if you see any videos online where people in a studio, it used to be a soundproof booth. And if you didn't know, like those booths, you couldn't put air conditioning in the booth because of the humming of the air condition, because the mics would pick it up. And so you had to go in there. So when you see artists in a room sweating because they're trying to record, it's because that recording booth had no air conditioning. It's hot when you're in a recording booth. And no, like in this room I am now, the air condition loud. You mightn't believe it, but it's very, very loud. Sometimes I'd be worried if people hearing it and that kind of thing. But the point I'm making is, Cartel and them going and record, and a man just setting up a mic right in it looked like a hotel room. Sometimes I see in dub plates or recordings being done inside a car. You know, you just have a mic, they hold a mic and they do it. And that coming out as studio, what would have been studio quality recordings back then. So when you build a studio now, you don't need to put in a soundproof booth and double doors. They used to have a double door thing to keep all the sound. Them days done. So when you look at the way schools and all the buildings we had designed for that purpose, it was just because the technology wasn't there yet. So the building itself was taking care of them technological needs so that one person could stand up and address the whole place and everybody could hear them kind of thing. If you talk to sound engineers and people in that field now, one of the more difficult things they have now is to put speakers and things in them kind of spaces, because now it's so much a glass and so much a apex or roof, if that's the right word I'm using, that the sound bouncing all about. So we really have a whole bunch of facilities. It's almost like we're in this period of independence and republic, and we're celebrating the advancement out of colonial life, and colonial life, and we're changing the artifacts of colonialism. But one of the things we have to keep in mind is that, again, if you keep the purpose of the thing, the purpose of the school is for education, for the children, that's for the betterment of the country as a whole in many, many years to come. And that's a key when you're talking about crime and youth delinquency and Christmas, let's have to lock up again and deport again and then lock up again and deport again. a big part of our way out of it or curbing this thing is the schools. So it can be that the schools become a political football when the issue is deeper than whether the government this and the PNM better wicked and they come open so much at school. It's not that. A lot of the things not fit for structure and they're not fit for purpose. We're in a transition period as a nation. So what I would like to see is where somebody assess these different spaces, because when I look at, or I'll tell you my experience. When I went to Newtown Boys and we were in a school church kind of building, old building, Newtown Girls was being rebuilt. And when Newtown Girls was rebuilt, the choir and everybody used to go over there. Like they had a music teacher by the name of Miss Dikoto. Used to go there to do piano with Miss Dikoto and learn and practice his songs and rehearse and all these things, right? Over in Newtown Girls. Now that school, and I talk about 1990 a little bit, right? I talk about before the coup, right? That school was more built for modern for that time, right? And even the look of the building and so on. If you pass by the building now, well, if you pass there now, you'll see that both Newtown Boys was also rebuilt with a lot of donations and walkathon sheets and so on that we would have submitted over the years. But all those things were done now to make it like that. So if we have a committee, I don't care if the committee is government ministers, opposition, OSHA people, tutor people, PSA, not PSA, PTA people, whoever is the right committee, including some people who just neutral and want to see the place become a better place, who come and sit down and they watch all the schools and they watch all the facilities we have. And they say, you see, these schools, this had to break down. This is not a 2-month project. This is a school that had to demolish and rebuild. Or even to look at it and say, like, I always remember going, I was going by my sister in Maryland. And I was looking at her picking up her son from school, right? And I don't like to do these things where I compare Trinidad to the States, right? But I do like best practice. I find you must always look for best practice and see the differences. So I dropped Zachary and Fatima on a morning. And you drive down what would be Mokarapa Road kind of thing. And all the people who trying to drop off the children there, pulling aside on the road, including myself, you just point an indicator, and I tell Zachary, do quick, come on, you know what I mean? It's that kind of, it's a rough kind of, like almost kick them out of the car in the morning. And some of the people who are coming from the east, for instance, might turn on to where you would drive, like if you're going into Fatima grounds. For people who don't know, it is a sort of parking lot opposite Fatima, barely a parking lot, right? But you could drive up there and probably drop out your child there, then come out. But I remember her going and pick up her son then, or drop him off to school or whatever it was. And you could see that the process of dropping off the children and picking up the children was thought out in the design of the school. So they design it in such a way that the school buses will pass here. You teach, there will be a lineup. So instead of having the lineup on the government road where everybody else who have nothing to do with dropping a child to school going to end up there, it's almost like you have a drive through the car park so that all the people who are lining up to drop off children coming through the car park and coming off the government road. And then you could go up to the front where you drop your child off to the school and you could see them when they walk off and all these different things. So it's like going back to San Fernando Boys. When you go and drop San Fernando Boys, if you don't know Fatima, right? San Fernando Boys is on Harris Promenade, related Willard Harris Promenade, right? And it's the same thing. I think they have San Fernando Boys. I think it's Anglican school somewhere, right? They have St. Gabriel's Girls on the next side. I think they have convent on the next side too. So it's 4 schools in one little area. Again, the police a headache on a morning because all like Paula Stacey and them so who want to cry and thing when they see the child in the uniform for the first time. They want to see the child walk in the class and all these things. It's just creating traffic. And again, remember that these things that promenade, built in colonial times by colonial people when it didn't have them set a car and things. So it made sense for all the schools to be very close together because most of the people who would be coming to pick up children would be walking or traveling with donkey carts and them kind of thing. But they were walking and they're traveling. So the centralization of schools made sense for the time. If we could take the best practice that I described for the schools abroad and say, well, all right, here we're going on. To build a school, you really don't just need the building and a little ground for man to sell snow cone and them kind of thing right there and sell pie and all this kind of thing, right? What you need is a certain amount of acreage. so that you have a school that houses X amount of people, because this community, look at Chaguanas as an example again. Chaguanas real grow over the years. So you have this community, you build a school with that kind of acreage, you create enough parking for when all your PTA meeting and teachers, they'd have parking for that. And you could come off the road, drive in, drop your school, you know what I mean? And that one flow of traffic and everybody, and make the whole thing a little bit easier. But sometimes, I don't know, it seems as though sometimes in this country, it's easier to blame one another and look at who do what and who do what for this, for my opinion, the sole purpose of scoring more and more political points, rather than try to fix the system for the benefit of the people who the system was really made for. You know what I mean? I like how people is throw around terms like the children are the future and this and that and the other, and then do things that are completely counterintuitive to that. But anyway, I as a man, every time I come to talk about these kind of things, I always remember that it ain't gonna be my last opportunity to talk about it, because this will happen again. We'll be right back here next year. But next year when school open, we in election season, so you know now self in September, somebody looking to waste down somebody and somebody looking to make excuse for something or another. I think it's just the way of the world at this point in time. It's kind of sad when you think about it. But again, I ain't not talk about it for too long, because we go right back here. I want to get to the purpose of this. I want to get to the purpose of this episode and the greater purpose of this podcast as a whole. We're here to celebrate the life. Celebrate the life of the great Roy Cape. I have a tune to play for you, you know. I have a tune, you know, as I dig in the archive sometimes to find some things, because I always talk about the difficulty in doing things like this and how little information you could get about some people at some times, right? It's difficult to find a lot of information about some of the greatest people in our musical or cultural landscape, and I would assume that is the same for the business landscape, the political landscape. I don't think we are the best at archiving. My mother was telling me this week that John Gill had done a dedication episode to Roy Cape. I mean, if you're under a rock, you know that the great Roy Cape, the great one, passed away last week, and the tributes, the dedications, the respect, the memories, they keep pouring in for him. And there's something that I've seen online that I find is we had to address differently or do better with, because the shock and surprise we have sometimes when you see youths don't know who is Roy Cape, right? So you find that people saying Roy Cape, I remember seeing it on MYOB, which I would assume that the audience that following MYOB or listening to or following MYOB and their posts and the theme they go down, the road that MYOB goes down, I would think that is mostly young people listening there, right? And I keep saying listening, I think about the podcast, but it's young people following that page. And you find that in the comments when they post Roy Cape and they think, I see they have a picture going around with Roy Cape and Stalin. So to my boy Tarek was sending me a picture of Roy Cape, Stalin, and who I want to believe is Valentino. I ain't sure. But youths in the comment section is asking, like, who he? Because, of course, they're seeing a picture of somebody they don't know. They're seeing a whole set of comments. And it's like, well, who that? And people basically wasting that. And I'm thinking, like, why we do this with young people? If younger people don't know who is Roy Cape, this is a great opportunity, as sad as it is, and condolences, of course, and respect to his family. But it's a good opportunity for people to get to know him. One of the things that I saw flowing in on about Roy Cape in terms of the dedications and what people had to say about him, one of the common themes is how he as a person embraced young people. You see it no matter who it is. Look for yourself, right, at every artist who talk about Roy Cape and what he meant to them. And one of the things you will see is that he humble, gracious, always willing to teach, always willing to explain, very, very patient with people. So when you now come in the business and you have to learn and you have to, they say Roy Cape is one of the men who will teach you anything that he learned, give you all the guidance that you need and so on. So even if it's an honor of the great Roy Cape, why not take that opportunity to help a youth to understand, help a youth to learn? Roy Cape is a great educator. Like, I was watching several interviews with him this week, and you know what stood out about him? He had a respect for the education. Like, somebody had asked him a question about what would you tell young people who want to make a band or young people who want to get into production of music? And the first thing he says, anywhere you find a music school, join that. Anywhere you go. I was just telling Salute Mobile Arian. I saw him. Arian is a producer. He's doing a lot of work with voice talent and production and ads and so on, right? And I saw him in gym this morning. I actually saw him on his Instagram. He was saying the same thing too. He was telling people about voice acting. Like, if you want to get into reading ads and voicing ads, the first thing he says, find yourself a school. Any one of these schools to start broadcasting. Find yourself a school where you can learn broadcasting. He said, if people tell you have a nice voice and you think, he said, go to school and advance it, hone your talent, understand the business. And that was the first thing that Roy Cape said to Roy Cape. Said, boy, listen, you're going and save yourself plenty time and plenty frustration by just joining a school and learning music properly, learning how to sight read is what he was talking about. And it's such an instructive thing. And in his legacy and in his honor, one of the things that we should do as people who is we age is don't get vexed with no youth if they never hear about Roy Cape and they don't know who is Roy Cape. Keep in mind that Roy Cape was easily a very, very behind the scenes man as a band leader. And in fact, my experience seeing him over the years was one where I remember the first time I hear Roy Cape say something. He used to be the band leader for Roy Cape long before All Stars, right? It was just Roy Cape. Roy Cape, the band was what I had known it as. I don't know if I'm wrong about that, but I remember seeing him in Calypso Spectacular. And he was a meek figure saying down right there behind every artist that come on, and the band was tight. And I mean, imagine how good he had to be as a instrumentalist and as a player in a band. When you had to play for 20-something, 30 Calypsonians who come in, you know how much you had to rehearse and have them songs right for people? Or go and play on the Marsh Grand Night with men winning loud money or a lot at stake. You had to go and play for everybody from Spectacular who go into the Marsh Ground. These is proper, well-rehearsed musicians. And when you see him in the Calypso tent and them thing, you never used to hear Roy Cape say anything. I remember Tommy Joseph and them started getting him to say a little thing and get up and dance and acknowledge him and that kind of thing. And that's how we know him from seeing him throughout the years. Keep in mind as well that by the time youth starts, them fellas is 20-something years old and they're young. By the time they come out, they might only know Roy Cape or care about it in the soca world. So when they hear Roy Cape and the All Stars, but keep in mind that the band had changed its name to All Stars Band as well. Tells you something about the man too, because when somebody genuinely interested in education, a big part of an educator's life is to pass things on. And I think the move, I remember when they were talking about the band is no longer Roy Cape and the All Stars, just All Stars. I suppose as Roy Cape stepped down from all that performing all over the place with the band. I saw it as a way of handing over and taking the spotlight, because it's almost like a big shadow cast over here. And I want you to look in particular at tributes from a few artists who were with All Stars over the years. The first one that I saw when he passed away was from Destra, right? Because if people would remember, Roy Cape, Destra would have come out with Roy Cape at the time. Destra was a Roy Cape artist. She make her name in Roy Cape singing as a band, a frontline band singer, long before she have her own hit something. I want to read a little bit about what Destra had posted there. She said, Pappy, everybody know him as Pappy. The industry people know him as Pappy. I myself and the fans know him as Roy Cape, right? So she said she posted a picture of him as celebrating his 80th birthday. Full of life still, you know. Say, Pappy, I knew this day would come. And although I premeditated this moment so many times, I still wasn't ready. Yesterday, you looked so peaceful lying there like a beautiful sleeping angel. And though I am unable to get that image out of my head, this is how I always want to remember you. She referring to the 80th birthday party. I've lost a father. I'm heartbroken. I have no more words, only tears. I will love you forever. Thank you for everything. Sleep in peace. When you hear Destra talk about Pappy or about Roy Cape, it tells you something about his. Sometimes that whole idea of legacy is a funny thing. You might feel. Sometimes we feel as though, at least let me talk for myself. You feel as though as you're getting older, you start to think about what life is going to be like when you're not here. But one of the things I don't think we realize is that everything we do in life, from when we was little children, is a part of the legacy that we leave in for other people to follow, a part that we creating for other people to follow. I hear Roy keep talking in an interview about leaving home for the first time and his mother getting tuberculosis. He said tuberculosis was like cancer in them days, there's no cure. And his mother passed away when he was young. And he was given the option. He's like, listen, go in Grenada by your mother and them family. Your mother was from Grenada. Or go in the orphanage. And he chose the orphanage. He said he lived on the streets for a little while. He think he gone in the orphanage. And he always had a love for music. He said his mother didn't have the same love for music that he had. His mother found his noise. But in the orphanage is where he was able to hone his skill and so on. He started off playing pan. And was able to hone his skill as a musician in the orphanage and as a saxophonist, right? I just want to talk like if somebody hearing about Roy Cape for the first time, right? Just in case. I want to read again from Olatunji, because Olatunji is another one of them who came out under. Olatunji is somebody who at a point in time, people used to say Olatunji would have never bust, right? He used to sing for Roy Cape. He had that kind of style, the same style he had now, but it was very, very new when he first come onto the scene. All that sort of Michael Jackson dancing and just sweating and spinning, and it used to look like if. And under Roy Cape, you could, when you see what he was able to do with talent and the amount of talent that passed through his band, and even in his transition from being a man, I don't like to make any distinction between calypso and soca, but when you see him from the calypso tent transition into a band that playing big band music in fets alongside Blue Ventures and Ecstatic and Traffic and Atlantic and all of them. It was a force to reckon with. Don't forget, Blacks is one of them people. When you hear Blacks talk about, a matter of fact, when you hear Blacks say Pappy, it really sounds like Pappy, So I was posting the picture with Roy Cape and Stalin today, and Ketura, so little Ketura had reached out to me and she said, boy, the best friends reunited. And I remember when Stalin was sick, you have many, many images and videos from Stalin's funeral with Roy Cape dancing, singing Black Man Feeling to Party. That's something else to see, Like, that man who was in the mix, right? I always wonder about this, where I'm a musician, you're an artist. You come up with a song. I might have worked on that song with you. I might have rehearsed with you. So long before the public hear the song, all they hear in the song. So when I see Roy Cape dancing to Black Man Feeling to Party and Stalin Wedding, I was wondering, like, what going through them fellas' mind? Are they picturing, like, studio sessions or picturing the first time they had to rehearse this song and realize that they had something? It's such a... It's a thing that I marvel at a lot, trying to figure out, like, what was in this man's mind? I read a quick one from Olatunji here for you, as Olatunji only could say it. Pappy Dunks, fly high Dunks, love you. Pappy Dunks voice, more pics. So when you look at what the impact that he would have had, and of course a beautiful tribute from Michael Mondesi as well, who is one of the I would say cultural ambassadors, right? Many tributes and many articles written about him. But Michael Mondesi have a way. All you know, that's my favorite journalist, right? So let me get to Michael Mondesi. This is from the 7th of September. They say, who would think a boy from the orphanage could get doctorate and thing? I want us to forget, right? That little clip I played in the beginning with him playing his saxophone was on his receiving of a doctorate from the University of the West Indies. Dr. Roy Cape, if you please, right? A wide smile followed that musing by Roy Pappy Cape during my visit to his Oropun Gardens home in February 2021. The memories of the encounter rushed back following the news of the 82-year-old saxophonist's death on Thursday. Pappy, a prostate cancer survivor, had just received favorable news from his latest blood work from St. James Medical Complex, was eager to show off. Say, I'm looking good, eh? Watch, I don't even need a stick to walk around the house, he boasted. Roy Cape's musical career spanned nearly 6 decades. In 2004, he was the recipient of the Hummingbird Medal Gold. This is the importance, and this is why I talk about this. I will never stop talking about that. So salute to them for honoring him with the Hummingbird Medal Gold. While he was still here, right? In 2011, he received an honorary doctorate from the University of the West Indies. The accomplished saxophonist, arranger, composer, and recording artist also launched his first publication, Roy Cape, A Life on the Calypso and Soca Bandstand, in 2014. And I can't read so well, so I was looking for a version of the audio book so I could digest it before today, but I can't read it. I can't read so well, but I definitely will get a copy of that book as well. Yet Cape's real success, his true pride and joy, was the boys and girls that graduated from his self-titled music school in Sandy Grande and Diego Martin. In fact, during his very last call a few weeks ago, he asked for help in getting funding for the school. You have to come and check, my boy. We need help again. You got to write a story. Pappy never missed a chance to boast about his students. He says, I have a little girl in Grande. If you hear she is, swear she's Kenny G. And she beating pan like a boss too. Pure talent. He said during a sit-down for Father's Day feature in 2022 that was supposed to be about his life. Last July, after presenting music literacy certificates to 36 graduating students at the Roy Cape Foundation Music School in Diego Martin, Cape made a plea for the Ministry of Education to officially include music education in the school curriculum. He said, here now, when a man starts to play a saxophone or a trombone, it gives him a different feeling. When a man or woman could watch a piece of paper and read music, it turns their life around. Music could help save some of our young people from being carried away, Pappy pleaded. A love for his fellow man. Cape grew up in Belmont's orphanage, now St. Dominic's Children's Home on Belmont Circular Road. Following the death of his grandmother, he chose to stay in TNT instead of moving to Grenada to live with his grandmother. Following the death of his mother. Was it mother or grandmother? I had that wrong. I trust Michael Mondesi on this. Following the death of his grandmother, he chose to stay in TNT instead of moving to Grenada. Perhaps the feeling of being all alone in the world inspired him to take on so many budding talents under his wing. Soca star Destra was one of those mentees who found her feet and later her wings under Pappy's guidance. Pappy proudly recounted how Destra and Brian took him to dinner on his birthday in 2022. Another one of his former charges, Olatunji Yearwood, who gave him the nickname Pappy Dunks, said Cape often talked fondly of soca stars who visited him frequently. He said, Ola, when you're passing, boy, you know Patrice checked me the other day. Ola laughed. I have so much memories with Pappy. He's my second earthly father after my late father, cultural promoter Edwin Yearwood. This Olatunji, right? Pappy would often tell Ola stories of his escapades with his father, affectionately called Swanky Pops. When Ola was fired from the frontline soca band Traffic, Pappy invited him to join the Soca All-Stars without an audition. Pappy used to come and check man, whole a vibe, take a little bun, with bun and cheese, right? Take a little bun. Play keyboards, that was how he was. He told me about that time when my father was managing the late Black Stallion, Leroy Callis. They went to collect a payment performance from a big gangster, and the man pulled a gun on them and they had to run. He did it his way. During a conversation in June 2022, Cape said that with a lack of male role models in his life, he learned to rely on his own intuition growing up. He said, God create one of us and give us wisdom. It's up to us how we go use it. Whether to be wise or to be dotish is up to you. It's all about love and kindness. Life is just living and being able to evaluate the right from the wrong. Reflecting on the passing of his soca son, Blacks, less than 2 months earlier, Cape said, is a huge personal loss. The All-Stars lead singer would have died of COVID in April 28, 2022. He said, it brought water to my eye. But when I went Despa's Spaniard for Black's Wake, it was the most appreciation I ever see an artist get here. Only one thing is left before he could see it. Only one thing is he left before he could see it. If he saw that, he would have feel like he in heaven already. When you're talking about heaven, you're talking about a reuniting that happening in heaven between men like Blacks, men like Black Stalin, men like Roy Cape. So when they talk about music, listeners, heaven, I want you to remember, if you want to go back to episodes here about artists we talk about and contributors to the art form, I want you to just imagine for a minute what it must be songing like up there. And boy, under all the artists and all the people who would have passed, boy, they get addition to a brass line there that hard to beat.
Yo, kid, now you listen to brass and soca.
Nah, man, brass is brass. Yeah, this brass. Right here, big band, you know. Rip the brass line. Brass are talking more. Watch me. They shoulda never did the brass in Kaito. They shoulda never said the brass on go slow. Now I can feel the whole world know. Without brass there's no calypso. Roy Caper never know you coulda blow so. You blow harder than George and Hugo. When they blow you just rip off the radio. Blow Roy Cape, blow Roy Cape, blow. Blow. Straight out of the big
I couldn't end this segment. Because again, this was a surprise. I couldn't end it without doing this, right? This was a surprise to anybody at the time because, and if you hear it from him, the man say Stalin always used to tell him, partner always used to tell him he had to do a tune, you know, right? Cape, we need one from you. And I suppose you respect them for one another and they love. It was really, really nice for me to see that picture come across my timeline with Roy Cape and Stalin. Looking young, you know what I mean? Somebody said me again, Bob Marley vibes, you know what I mean? And when you see how close them fellas was all over the years, you had to be a fly on the wall to hear some of them conversations, you know. But when a man like that, who is your personal friend, one of the greatest calypsonians to ever live, when he tell you, boy, you have to give you a tune, it reminds me of when Stalin had sing Sundar Way Me Song about he and Sundar promising to do a collaboration. But when I heard Roy Cape talk about this song and his coming from behind the bandstand now playing music to going in front to take the mic and sing. And when he performed this song, he had a swag and a vibe he used to bring with that song. If you ever see him perform, it was something else. I suppose when Stalin called you and you had to do something and tell you had to do this, I suppose you had to do it. So if you never know about Roy Cape singing, you're supposed to know this, right? You're going to know about it now.
Some music, all salamin. Jamme, Mr. Kip. Let me get another kick. Jam the music, Mr. Kip. This jamming cannot escape. With these sparrow troubadours, I open so many doors. Playing music with the best. That was such a serious test. Frankie Francis Burton it did teach me the business. My education I got from these musicians. Jamme, Mr. K. Let me get another take. Jam the music, Mr. K. This jamming cannot escape. Soca music, yes we have it. Reggae music, if you want it. Salsa music, we go jam it. Kaiso music, also have it. Jamme, Mr. K. Let me get another take. Jam the music, Mr. K. This jamming cannot escape. From New York City to reside in TNT, I come with a Kaiso band to jam music in the land. Every calypsonian know my business is Kaiso. In the weekend or in the fete. It's one cry you're going to get. Jam it, Mr. King. Let me get another thing. Jam the music, Mr. King. This jamming cannot escape. Soca music, yes we have it. Reggae music, if you want it. Salsa music, we go jam it. Kaiso music, also have it. Jam it, Mr. King.
Let me get another tick. Jam it, Mr. King. Let me get another tick. In celebration of the life of the great Roy Cape, right? As we celebrate in life, we have to continue to celebrate life, right? You know, I take any opportunity to celebrate life that we could get. Life short, you know. Life short. Even shorter for some of these youths in the country right now. But I'll leaving out the crime talk and I'll leaving out all them kind of talk this week because one of the things I was happy to see with youths, right? It have a youth now. Of course, when it's time for me to talk about him, I can't find the name. But I know him as Akeem, right? I meet this little youth man, well, I meet the young man on the days when it used to have Clubhouse. We used to go and talk about things, right? So I used to listen on Clubhouse. Clubhouse was like one long-running podcast for me. So I used to enjoy going and listen to Clubhouse on a weekly basis. Salute to everybody who was on Clubhouse at the time. And one of the things that I enjoy listening, but it used to get me annoyed because there's a lot of foreigners, a lot of fresh waters who on Clubhouse talking about their carnival experience. And, you know, one of the debates they was having on Clubhouse one of the times was that without foreigners, right? Without foreign base, let me stop calling people foreigners, but foreign based, right? Without foreign based people, they can't have a carnival in Trinidad. I thinking like, what? It's only after a while I realized I in a room with a whole set of people who live in the States and Canada, and their experience and what I see in here is two different things. Because I was like, there's carnival could happen anyway, anytime. Carnival is about one person. So I don't know where this numbers thing come on. You know, and I always remember that some people's version of carnival is tribe and humor and lost tribe, and that is the whole of carnival to them. So when I was in this constant debate about carnival getting too expensive and the thing and all this set of money, I was listening to somebody talking the other day. A podcast I bounced up recently. I want to tell you the name of this podcast, right? Now these fellas and them, I like the podcast too, but that's what make me play this song, if it's a one-man thing with that, because these fellas and them, the last episode them and record was a long time ago. I don't know if they don't record too often or what. Man, it's take some kind of long break. I just began abused when I take a week off. Man, taking some long break in this thing, but of course, it's time to find. Okay, I find them. Them fellas and them song like again foreign-based men who come in for carnival and them kind of thing, and I was shocked to hear when the man say a trip like a carnival experience for him ain't costing less than I want to tell you the figure he called like 8,000-9,000 US. I was like, oh. I'm not sure. I ain't sure, but they did say that they're doing well and them fellas are good jobs and thing, right? But I always wonder if people appreciate that you could have a complete carnival experience in this country, including going to events, seeing some of the top artists in the country perform, seeing some of the top steel band, chipping on your road Monday and Tuesday, chipping on your road for you could do all that for the grand total of nothing. That ain't going nowhere. So if what you want to say, or I like what the guy had said on the podcast, I'm sorry I can't credit them, but I like what he said on the podcast, because what people really mean to say is that you cannot afford the carnival experience that you want because it gain out of your reach. So what you got to do is up your money, you know what I mean? Look for your side hustles, invest wisely, and see if you could up your money. Because if you want that ultra premium carnival experience where you come here and you stay in an Airbnb that is in the middle of the savannah, so you don't have to walk too far, and you drive Benzes all over the place, drop you to and come fete, and you're coming from the fete in a helicopter, and you're going to play in an all-inclusive band with wing, feather, headpiece, footpiece, all them. If you can afford that, then maybe you should look into alternatives. But I don't buy the argument that carnival getting too expensive at all. But that same young fella, Akeem, who used to be on and he's a popular social media influencer, and I see him come out and make a post, and it's a resurgence with youth now. I tell all the other day about the boy Christian Constance coming out and making a post of an independence post. And in the background, he posts somebody who I more expect to be having the young brothers and the lady lovers of this world as they back in music. In the Independence Post is Sparrow, model nation, right? In our population in this model nation is not a lot. Surprised to see that. And then I surprised too to see this youth man wishing happy birthday to one of the vibesiest Calypsonians I ever hear.
A little girl came down from the country, saying how she want to eat some party, but she don't know how to move around with them boys and them in town. So she invite no other body to come and ask but me. So I tell she, find a party, smoke a watty. When you finish, drink a Guinness, find a corner, snatch a fella, now your head back, squeeze him man hand. When he lights them, you go start moving. She say how cheap your runs in the country, don't allow she to go to no party. So this little break you see again, I come out to be fast. A party could be Osia, Osa, a beating. So I tell she, find a party, smoke a watty. When you finish, drink a Guinness, find a corner, snatch a fella, now your head back, squeeze him man hand. When he lights him, you go start grooving. She say how she hearing about Nutcracker, DJ Batman John Funky Jam, DJ Madman, you Busha, Kenson, Saves from Arima. I hope I won't have no problem doing myself with them. So I tell she, find a party, smoke a watty. When you finish, drink a Guinness, find a corner, snatch a fella, now your head back, squeeze him man hand. When the lights dim, you go start moving.
Where's that Wati, boy? That's what Olatunji was talking about. Where's that Wati? You tell me, you know. Road March in 1979, the great mighty poser, you know what I mean? Great one. Name of the song is, people this time I don't say the name of the song and them thing, eh? The name of the song is Atelshi. You could also search for Smoker Wati. Figure out how to spell Wati, right? The man name no damn Akeem. The man name is Kwame, not just saying. I don't know where I get Akeem from now. But again, that is a kind of resurgence. It's a kind of, because the whole talk, and I was talking about this with the whole idea of Apollo. Keep in mind, I roll in towards episode 200, right? 200 for me is must be 2 or 3 years of doing this, right? And when I started off doing this, a big part of it was to talk about Calypso and this idea of new Calypso or Soca and anything being different from Calypso is, I trying to talk about this 200 episodes now. But I seen where there's a tide turning. With that Apollo show closing with a Calypso night featuring some big Calypsonians. When I see Crazy performing there, no. A matter of fact, when I see Marshall rehearsing with Crazy, Marshall takes some stress to put up a Calypso show together. He takes some pressure. He takes some pressure. As a perfectionist in the music who trying to make the thing right, and I know what I mean, do the right thing where where a tight performance is concerned. I don't think Crazy was so so invested. Crazy like, I doing this 100 years now. Play the song, I go sing it. You know what I mean? He ain't trying to do too much. So salute to that. Salute to these youths who know or starting to appreciate and recognize and identify the roots of that calypso. I was so surprised to hear him telling a man like Poser happy birthday. So I have some Poser tune lineup, I have some Poser tune lineup to play throughout the episode. But in a completely unrelated, and I'm saying unrelated to anybody name who I call. This is just a story I've been following. So this had nothing to do with nobody I talked about before. But the Newsday have a story here. This is by Joey Bartlett. No indictments on him either. But it says Grindr danger. If you're listening to this, right, and you don't know what is Grindr, go in the App Store, look for Grindr, and create a profile. Have a good time. Have at it. And the great words are crazy. If you can't find a woman, is the only solution. If you're feeling for somebody in the party, why don't you take a man? There's been a troubling increase in crime on the popular gay dating app Grindr. You get it on your phone here? With the criminals posing as users to lure and rob members. You see what the kind of community is? Why the people that come and march every year, this is what the community is going through. And as an ally, I come to talk about it. Despite this, users continue to navigate its digital lands. I wonder why. In May, former head of the police Special Victims Unit, Superintendent Claire Guy Allen, issued a warning to the app's users, urging members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community, all of them, LGBT plus community, to exercise caution and conduct due diligence before meeting people. You know what I mean? Don't just go and meet people just so, Guy Allen said, right? To investigate this trend, Newsday created a Grindr account in late July. Newsday is now climbing the charts to be one of the number one, it's the number one newspaper in the country. This is what I've been talking about, you know. People, the idea of investigative journalism, you know, we used to hear Mark Bassant and them doing investigative, all undercover work and them thing. We don't get enough of this kind of thing in the country, you know. So Newsday decide them go bite the bullet. Either that or, you know what I mean, Newsday decide I go bite the bullets. Either they bite any bullets or they're just going on bullets. So investigate this trend, Newsday created a Grindr account in late July, which took about 5 minutes to set up. That means whoever set up that had one before. Don't try to trick me with that. Which 5 minutes to take it to set up. You had one. You know when you have an iPhone, right? And you go and download an app that you had before. It's have a little cloud around it. And when you click it, just make a circle and come back. You, sir, had a Grindr account. Don't try to fool people. Everybody like different things. To investigate this trend, Newsday created a Grindr account in late July, which took about 5 minutes to set up. Scanning the app revealed numerous faceless torsos. Numerous faceless torsos and a few face photos, reflecting the anonymity often sought by its users. Over 2 weeks, Newsday interacted with 139 profiles. That is dedication to a story. The Guardian and the Express could learn something here. That is what you call dedication to a story. Where I reached now? Over the 2 weeks, Newsday interacted with 139 profiles with 59 continuing the conversation. 59 out of 139. That's a high hitting rate, you know. Only making more runs on the TKR. That ain't bad at all. Continuing the conversation after learning it was part of an investigation into why users continue to use the app. I ain't like what they do here at all. I don't like it. They say here 59 continued the conversation after here, and it was part of an investigation into why. So all you went and you swipe right, and you make the man look like the torso. You see a torso, and he send a torso, and you look into torso, and now they come to tell me what's investigation. But thanks, these 59 people discuss it, you know what I mean? And if I was on this investigation team, I would have wanted to find out, like, because I've been following this for some time, and what is here is Duncan Street on George Street in the Shafford, and I've been thinking, like, within the LVGT community, it's like, well, you know these areas, like, you don't know Duncan Street, you don't know George Street, like, I sometimes wonder, like, what you think was going to happen. I know what you think was going to happen when you went there, but there was dangerous places to go. It's just, let me just bring down this to where it is now. It's looking for love, right? And I myself, I've looked for love in some very, very dangerous places over the years. I've looked for love in dangerous places. When you can't choose who you love. You can't choose who you love, right? So when you see I go on in the lair back in the day, right? I ain't gonna tell you, I ain't gonna call no name who I went to, right? When you go on in the lair and you find somebody you like and you think, bring a drink, start a dance, something, and when you say, well, you drop them home, them time, I have my mother car driving in places with them 4 tires, never see. That parts of Mova where I driving, I only see in the sky. Parts of BIL, when I'm going up that hill, I only see in the sky, part of Laventry Road. What I find in myself in these places for? But love. So I understand, young love, you're going to find places and things, but there's some dangerous places in this app, right? Especially when all I see is torso. I never fall in love with that torso yet. During these interactions, 37 users reported, but then again, when you're on Grindr, you're not looking for love. Eh? Well, you finish, download all your Grindr profile. Check and see what people looking for there. It's not really love, During these interactions, 37 users reported being victims of robbery. 37. Wait, so of the 59 people who continue the conversation, 37 of them get robbed? I didn't have to that. Many conversations started with a nude photo sent on a timer, followed by the question, you host or drive? I go and start to ask people this now. This is like a man of I keep saying about education. I educated myself here. So you had to send a nude photo, right? The nude photo ain't bound to be yours. If you download this and you're new to this thing, the nude photo ain't bound to be yours. You could get nudes on your thing, you could send that to people just in case. Ask me how I know. They say you host or you drive. Host is a little bit of a brutal term. When you think of what Grindr is, host. Host is you're hosting somebody inside. Some users agreed to speak with Newsday provided that their identities were protected. Aaron's story. Aaron say you had to be smart. You got to be careful how you host when you're hosting. Yes, you got to be careful. Standing in a shaded area near the old Arima police station, the 27-year-old from Malabar began chatting with Newsday 2 days after the profile was created. Now, I'll say something, right? I was watching Ian Allen the other day, and I see a man who's talking about that situation. Like, you know what I mean? He's a traveler. I think he living in New York, and he come here, and he have a fella, but the fella have a woman. And when he come, he say he come in he place. And the man, don't make no noise, because the man have a woman in the place. And this thing reach on Ian Allen now, and make a big spectacle out of the thing. And I see people online saying, long time when you see somebody who as on Grindr, when you see a host or a driver long time, it's have a look. But now the host or the driver in a zest, you don't know who is who. So I talking about going in certain area, but Newsday talking to a man from Malabar here, no knock on Malabar, of course, but Newsday talking to a man from Malabar here, he say, he run an accountant who loves anime, has 4 dogs. Should I say anything disparaging about people who like anime? Like most people who like anime and grind. Anyway, Aaron, an accountant who loves anime, has 4 dogs, explained his continued use of the Grindr despite the rise in robberies. Only did not ask this man this, only could have asked me this. I could tell you why he using Grindr despite the robberies. He said it's the easiest way to meet men who not on no makeout scene thing. Everybody knows why they're there. I like places where everybody know why they're there. I like that. Well, you know why I here. I know why you here. It's a set of confusion. This is what it is, right? And they keep it simple. I would say so far, Aaron. Aaron isn't worried about becoming a crime victim because he takes precautions, such as video chatting before meetings. I wonder if you see more than it also in the video chat. And choosing public places for initial encounters. Oh, when you say initial encounters, like a date. What was a date you mean? However, he admitted to an attempted robbery in 2023. Let me tell you something. Aaron get robbed. Everybody who ever get robbed. Nothing to do with Grindr or nothing. You see when you get robbed and you have to go back on the block, the first thing you say is, nah, I tried to rob me. I just gave 100 and call that a day. Yeah, you get robbed. You see, I met a fella in Arima last year and we went to Cleaver Heights. We went by an abandoned house. We went by an abandoned house, and when I walk in, there was a fella with a cutlass in the room. When you say cutlass, what kind of cutlass? I ain't showing me when they say cutlass or a weapon. What weapon you looking for? He escaped through a window but didn't report the incident. Yeah, escape, you wicked. You escape through, you get robbed. You get take. Or the cutlass was part of the action. Everybody liked different things, right? He said he escaped through a window but didn't report it to the police. Fear and exposure, believing the police wouldn't care. What you should do is report it to the police and you might find a police who's a horse. I wonder if he's driving. After deleting his profile following the incident, Aaron created a new one within months and saying more cautious now. It's the only place to meet men, if not the app where. I'm not going to no club or no bar. That is, to him, is more dangerous. Jason says queer people deserve a space to belong. Jason, I wonder if Jason, let me just say so now because I thought I know the definition of queer, but Jason, Jason from Aruka. Oh, this Jason, sorry. The Aaron done. That's the Aaron. Salute Aaron. Salute. Jason, queer people deserve a space to belong. Jason from Aruka. Is that his thing? Jason from Aruka believes Grindr's popularity in TNT stems from the societal stigma surrounding homosexuality. Queer people deserve a space to belong, interact, and connect. I say so. Grindr was created by queer people for that purpose. While it is true that caution is necessary when meeting others online, it's unfair to blame the queer individuals who are victims of these crimes. I find so. What I don't understand is this idea of just going in tongue. You have to be a little more wise than that. I don't like to victim blame or, if something happens to you, you get hurt or you get robbed and them kind of thing. That shouldn't happen to anybody. But also, if all I see is your torso and you tell me, meet you in the plannings on Duncan Street and not coming here, so where I'm coming from? But again, I've been to some strange places. And I born before the internet too. My time for these kind of thing, you had to see and know the person. It had no blind date in my time, right? People say we deserve to be raped, robbed, injured, or killed, and that's wrong. I agree. It's the same narrative as saying women ask for it when they wear skimpy clothes. I agree with Jason. Jason, you're talking sense. Salute, Jason. Salute. Let me hear what Brandon has to say. Brandon, you blasted the light. Brandon says it's just a place to chat. Brandon, you're not just chatting. Brandon, a fitness enthusiast and part-time gym instructor from St. James. We just going to go to the Aruka and the Arima thing. Brandon, a fitness enthusiast and part-time. I wonder if it's a channel going on under the name of Brandon. What the hell is going on? Brandon, a fitness enthusiast and part-time gym instructor from St. James, says he uses the app primarily for conversation. He said it might sound like a lie. Brandon, it don't sound like a lie, it's a lie. It might sound like a lie, but I rarely on the app just to chat. I don't meet people. Despite the rise in incidents on the app, he says he has made 2 friends in 3 months, both of whom he invited back to his apartment for the first. Well, Brandon's smart. Brandon is a man after my own heart because all the dangerous places I go and thing over there, you got to come home by me. You got to come home. I'm not resting my head on no pillow nowhere. You might catch me with a little drop home the first time I have to pick you up, but you're coming in the James. You're coming in the Batchy, right? His advice to others is to prioritize safety. Don't put yourself in harm's way for sex. It's not worth it. That's what we were just chatting, Brando. He also believes police don't care about LGBT plus people. Brandon, I don't think the police care about much of you, right? I don't know if the police care if you're lesbian, gay, straight, Brandon or taken. People and this, they don't care about LGBT plus people, and despite not being a victim of crime, if one were to occur, he wouldn't. Yeah, I know you're not reporting that. Harold. It's a name like Harold. You definitely hosted me. Harold, a 40-year-old police officer. You see how you could say that the Brandon police, Harold, a 40-year-old police officer, maintains a Grindr profile unbeknownst to his partner of 15 years. Harold. Let me start over, right? Because sometimes I just can't read so well. Let me start over. Harold, a 40-year-old police officer, maintains a Grindr profile unbeknownst to his partner of 15 years. He insists he's not gay, but he uses the app for vice. Stay serious. There's not that laughing matter. Despite the app's dangers, Harold feels secure due to his law enforcement background. My protection is my gun. Harold, your gun is your protection, but make sure you have protection for your gun, right? When you're going for your fight. He said, adding that the crime affects all sectors of TNT, and the challenges on Grindr are no different from those on Facebook Marketplace. I agree. So when I selling something on Facebook Marketplace or buying something from Facebook Marketplace, I tend to want to meet by a police station. Just to make sure, you know what I mean? I don't deal with no big transaction, but a man might know you have 1,500 on you to buy something, and that 1,500 mean plenty to him, much more than it means to you, and he willing to risk it all for that 15. So I just kind of want to meet by the police station. I don't like the mall car park. Even now, like, I'm so frightened the other day. We had to put a car for sale, and I'm frightened to meet people to sell cars and things. I don't like it too. But I guess it's the same with Grindr, and I suppose you can't really meet by a police station to just talk like Brandon, unless you're going to meet Harold. So Brandon, meet Harold. Harold, Brandon. David says it's a fun place to connect. I say so. David, a 23-year-old from Mayaro, enjoys using Grindr to connect with others. Though aware of the app's dangers, he appreciates the social aspect. I've met so many people from all over Trinidad. I enjoy the chat and the occasional alignment in Grindr. It's nice meeting other people like me, especially since I live up here in the bush. I like what Newsday do here too. Newsday. Anyway, a growing list of crimes. Grindr has been linked to numerous crimes in recent months. On August 27th, a Guyanese teacher hired a TT rideshare driver to carry him to Marval to meet a man he met on Grindr. They were both robbed. So what the hell I have to do with this if I see rideshare, man? Wait till I get Grindr robbed for. That man he get robbed with very little upside, you know. He didn't even go for this. He was just a rideshare driver. In July, a 19-year-old was sexually assaulted and robbed by someone he invited to his home. 19, yeah, like a youth, you know. You gotta be. But I guess, you see, 19 and them is the kind of age where, boy, listen, 19-year-old heat is a different kind of heat to 40-something-year-old heat. You know? When you're 40-something, your heat, well, the heat is come on slow. And it just go fast. And you could wait, but when he's 19, he just can't wait and he can't think straight. You're going to bring somebody in your house, look what can happen to you. It's sad to hear. I mean, I don't condone any of that kind of thing. In June, a Cocorite man was beaten, robbed of his car, robbed, and had his car stolen after meeting someone on Grindr. Another man was robbed of his car and cash after meeting a man at a guest house in Arangways. In May 26, a Rima man was beaten and robbed by 5 men during his lunch hour after a visit to an apartment on Nelson Street. After the visit, only be the man? Only wait till the man is the weakest point. You know, when you're done, you're tired. Whether it is you're driving or hosting, you're tired. Only rob the man then? Newsday spoke with Dion Gill, a gender illusionist, activist and counselor at TT Family Planning Association. He believes Grindr should implement integrated and mental health. All right, okay, Dion. All right, good. All right. Let me stop there. Okay, Dion, Grindr is not a. He's talking like if we make Grindr in Lee Platte. Grindr is a big international organization, but about them things to study. They go basically tell it's like Facebook. Them going to tell you, listen, be careful. Don't go and meet man all over time. But it's clear that no matter where you come from, and no matter what your preference is, or no matter if you're driving or you're hosting, tongue man have a sweetness. Tongue man have a sweetness.
Old Miss Dorothy from Sandy Grandy, still looking for men. You could ask come in and she, what they in for? Dorothy, what kind of man? Give you satisfaction, must the man be from the country? She said, look around and find me a man from town. She love the tongue man, she want the tongue man, she like the tongue man, give she the tongue man. She said the country man gives satisfaction, have a secret jam, but tongue man have more action. Is she the tongue man? She love the tongue man, she prefer the tongue man. She said the tongue man is man. So Miss come in, start questioning she. I can understand why it must be a tongue man. Dorothy, you may get offended, but why pretend? All men is men, but she shall know. Let me tell you, countryman had what them tongue man a little more bad. So she love the tongue man, she want the tongue man, she like the tongue man, give she the tongue man. She said the countryman give satisfaction of a secret jam, but tongue man full action. Give she the tongue man, she love the tongue man, she prefer the tongue man.
Listen, I never here to bring nobody into disrepute. You know, my goal is never to bring Poser into disrepute. So as much as I had to play tongue man for the grinders of this world, I had to make Poser position clear.
What's it? Everyone opposer is a bus conductor. So long a walking, no promotion coming. Instead of old dispatcher, want to give me pressure. Since they have women driving, it's with them a walking. But he have a problem. He don't want me work with him, playing he's my friend, but only want me work with the men, not me. I want to work on Ira bus, I want to work on Sarah bus, I want to work on Janet bus, I want to work on Margaret bus, not me on Isaac bus, not me on Wilshire bus. I'd rather that bus than to work on any man bus. With the woman, I never have problem. Everything does work right, from gas to the headlight. They check on the tire, gas, oil and water. They make sure that the bell is working just as well. But when you work with the men, you always have problem. The boss and leave tongue, but the blinking bus don't shut down. Not me. I want to work on Ira bus, I want to work on Sarah bus, I want to work on Janet bus, I want to work on Margaret bus. Not me on Isaac bus, not me on Wilshire bus. I just feel the cuss when they put me on a man bus. Alright. Oh yeah yeah. Oh dang 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 dang. With them mail bus driver, you always have pressure. They reach into work late, posting about the last date. Then you the conductor, got to check the dispatcher to see what bus walking. They going and eat something. They wouldn't check before they leave to see the bus defective. Is any old bus, but not me, I checking them first. You see, I wanna work on Ira bus, I wanna work on Sarah bus, I wanna work on Janet bus, I wanna work on Margaret bus. Not me on Isaac bus, not me on Wilshire bus. Others make real fuss to work on any man bus. What's me? Alright. Market. I like all them bots I've seen in front of me here. Buses like rain. Big bus, small bus.
Not me and Isaac bus, not me and Jason bus, and not me and Brandon bus, and not me and Harold bus. fuss. I'd rather that fuss before I want any man boss. Watson Duke, vendors vow to fight THA over store bay upgrade. When I saw hear from Watson. Yeah, we gotta keep way off Tobago, you know. We had to watch Watson and what the next one named Fall. We had to keep way and Watson still have on a PDP shirt. I thought them done for. From Elizabeth Gonzalez, Tobago correspondent, frustrated over the planned upgrade at Storby, some vendors and reef tour operators vowed to go to war with the Tobago House of Assembly for a fair and transparent process. The vendors yesterday warned of chaos. The vendors on Storby know that there's already chaos. Anyway, the vendors yesterday warned of chaos if their sales were disrupted. They spoke to the media after a news conference with political leader of the Progressive Democratic Party, Patriots, Watson Duke, at the site yesterday morning. Duke vowed to stand in defense of the workers as part of what will be a people revolution. We want to know about accommodation. What happens when you turn this into a construction site? Do you still starve the horse, or are you going to starve the people who have found food here while you are building up what exists in your head? And in your head alone, boy, politicians know how to talk. Some vendors who use the Storby facility have accused the THA of favoritism and nepotism. They claim they were in the dark about the planned upgrade. Tour operator Ronnie Elliott claimed he was unaware of the planned upgrade. We don't know anything about construction. We hear they had something going on at the community center. We hear about these things after the fact. We have no issue with them doing whatever they want to do as long as the people have a say in what's being done here. We're not going to take this easy. These are people who have supported. These are people who we supported, and they have to support people who support them. That's a complicated sentence. We are poor people, private enterprising, making a living. Another tour operator, Andre Martin, said he too was clueless about the move. While he supports the development, he said those who make a living at the facility must not be held to ransom. My thing is that if only a few people were informed, they should have a media advertisement where the locals could have input into what's taking place. It cannot be local people who born here, bred here. There's a bunch of... Listen, these things too simple. Storby have some vendors. It's done a kind of chaos to me already. Yes, there's some people who sell food by Miss Jean and Miss Trim and them. They have a little eating area outside there where it is too long them to do it, dealing with that. And that is, as you say, a private and enterprising. That little thing there, it is too hot and it's too much a fly. The government and the THA, the 6 people who selling food there must be able to come together and try and do something about them amount of fly that's in that place where it's so uncomfortable to go and eat. You see this idea that private enterprise must be supported by the government. We don't have an incubation phase, you know. We're lifetime taxpayers responsible for the lifetime of some businesses. And there's no, I've said this about things like Soca Monarch and several competitions throughout Carnival, and it's the same in Storby. If you try to buy a dumpling and a crab and dumpling over there, and you try to sit down in that little area, it's hot. They wouldn't put a fan and make the place comfortable there. Them same 6 vendors who benefited from that for generations could come together and say, hey, here what's going on. Let we wipe down here with bleach every morning. Let we get some of this. Let we get... I don't know. There's a boy, listen. I don't know. Then there are some people who sell some ice cream and thing in a place where you ain't sure if you could go in or not go there. You know, the big building in the middle. Then on the next side, you have to pay $1 to use the washroom. Then it has some men selling some craft. Everybody who's selling craft there, a little extra aggressive, I find. You know what I mean? I guess it's a sales pitch. So from by the road, they're asking if you want to do this, that, and the third. I guess that's normal in tourist-driven countries. I don't like it. I wish there was a way to eliminate it. I remember going to Cancun and man, when you're coming out of the airport, the man pulling your hands to tell you about taxi and things. I don't like them things too much. Too much. My testosterone low. Too much aggression for me. I need a simpler process. And then there was a man who I was telling only about him last time we went to Bago, who he have a shack sort of right by the step to walk down by. This man is rude. He don't know how to deal with people. He's unhygienic. We should welcome any change that come into Storby. Not saying that it wasn't. I mean, Storby is a iconic landscape in Tobago, and I hope they don't go and miraculous the thing where they go and put some HDC house on Storby and so on. But I just find it too simple. There's a few operators there. The THA, Tobago is a small place. It moves slow. Just like one tongue meeting. I see Farley and tongue meetings all the time, all over the place, talking to people nearly every week. Like, I can't believe that part of this I feel is like, what's you going to stir up something to get some support on his side and get a little FaceTime in the papers, because I find it too simple for this to be a issue. Farley just had to go and meet with a handful of people, including the tour operators, who back in the day it used to be glass bottom boats and you could go and watch your reef. Apparently there's not much more. So now the glass bottom boat is like the harbor master. It's fat going on there, and it's a little too much for me. I don't think I will go on that at all. I don't like it. It's just a lot. I suppose you're just going out to the nylon pool and chill out there. But that's for young people now. Me able to that sort of noise. I comfortable going on the beach and relax. So if you get all the people who renting chairs, all the people, there's a small consultation. And I agree with them in that you can't really, they say, while the grass growing, the cows starving, you have to figure out a way for the people to continue to make the income while you do the renovation. So if it means housing them somewhere else or making parts of the beach available for people to go on while you renovate, but it's only fair to them that it's clear how they're going to do it. Is it the beach itself you're going to renovate, or is it the shopping area and all that? I find that this is, for me, a little too simple a problem to be an issue. And a part of the consultation ought to be, how are we going to get private businesses to operate as a private business? You know what I mean? You're running a business, you have to figure some of the things out. It can't be that we renovating it and then it's still everything on us. All you're doing is you're paying a rent here and you do nothing else to enhance the business, make it better for your customers, reinvest in the space and so on. I kind of like the idea. You give people these spaces, like the same thing with the Savannah and thing. You charge a rent. So it can't be that we subsidizing the rent to make it easy for smaller businesses to come in and pay. And then on top of that, there's no reinvestment by the businesses themselves. There's no handover process. There's just a forever incubation for generations. I think that kind of thing had to stop. But talking about private sector and business, I had to partners to shout out and only excuse me for a minute. You see, when you have big shot friends, right? You got to make sure that you talk about your big shot friends on your broadcast and so on, just in case. So that me I had to depend on if I had to depend on government subvention and handout and thing, at least I have some big shot friends I could call on if that dry up and I could get some business. Reading from the Newsday 2 days ago, Young meets with Nutrien. Energy Minister Stuart Young had an introductory meeting with Edmund Thompson, Vice President and Managing Director of Nutrien. The meeting was held at the Ministry's office in the International Waterfront Complex on September 6th. In the ministry release, Young welcomed Thompson and commended Nutrien's recent successful turnaround. Salute to Edmund Thompson, I'm a partner, you know. As my partner, so I had to make sure, you know what I mean? So that anytime, you know, we need some business from Nutrien in the future, I could go back to moments like these and say, hey, remember I talk about you on my podcast and then kind of thing, you know what I mean? make sure that the bread run. Not in all seriousness. That's a fellow that I'm very, very proud of. That's my partner from back in the day. So I had to take a minute to talk about him. Another fellow who I'll tell you, I went to Fatima with, and has always been one of the cooler people. Well, I'll say this, right? He's one of the most cool people you ever deal with, but he's also one of the most direct people you'll ever deal with. And they have two words, but the second one is up. He's also that kind of man who, them men will tell you where to get off, right? But I will always remember a time where, boy, listen, one of the frustrating times in work, I was in First Citizens car park in Gulfview. And I was so frustrated with things going on in the bank. And some of the frustration is things we bring on ourselves because you're trying to navigate the space and figure out business, and you have salaries to pay and not enough money to pay, and you're just frustrated. And in the frustration, I went to my phone and I say, there must be a better alternative to banking. And that's all I said on the Facebook post. And then I get a message from this gentleman and he asked me, well, what's going on? What happened? What do you need help with? And I went through with him. He happened to be working at one of the banks where we had the accounts with. And in fairness, at the time, there's not a lot that he could have done given it, because it was really our issue, you know what I mean? You know, when you maybe I was just venting because it was nobody else's problem. I could have do with the help or the pull out, but it was nobody else's problem. But I always admired that because he was older than me in school. We wasn't like friends to talk to every day, but we know one another, play a little basketball and lime a little bit, and you know, we wouldn't pass each other straight now with Fatima, man. But for him to see that and reach out, it said something about his character. And since then, anything that I had to do, I talked to him. a lot. He was working at Blue Waters one time and dealing with farming and them kind of thing, which I found to be fascinating. And he takes some time out of a busy day to talk to me about farming. And that's something I would like to do or get involved in at some point in time. But I'm reading from the Express here. Jardine appointed as managing director of RBC Royal Bank, Trinidad and Tobago. Mark Jardine has been appointed as the managing director of RBC Royal Bank, succeeding Richard Downey, who is set to retire later this year. According to a release from RBC, Jardine's appointment was shared by RBC Royal Bank head of Caribbean Banking, Chris Dugan. Jardine is currently RBC's vice president of business banking in Trinidad and Tobago, and he took on the additional duty of managing director effective September 2nd, 2024. I'm a partner. And again, should I be in any problems with the bank, RBC, or any one of the banks, I'm going to be very comfortable and feel good so I can pick up the phone and call Jardine. And before I start to talk, I will play this segment of the podcast so he know that I was always I was always on his side. I was always his friend. I was always a huge supporter and always backing him 100% in any of his endeavors. But salute to Jardine, salute to my boy Edmond. And I mean, talking about backing people, right? I want to move on quickly here to one of the things that causes me headaches, right? One of the things that causes me headaches. And not just headaches, but sleepless nights these days, because I'm not a young man. And I need to go in my bed by a certain time. And you see, when I had to stay up late in the night, I don't care see already. My contact lenses start to dry up. Like, staying up late is a very difficult thing for me to do. And you see, when I stay up late to backside that I support, I have a problem with that. Since CPL games start 7 o'clock. Me, I see the second innings in a CPL game for the season yet. I started to watch NFL this week, so the Patriots. The Patriots, just know that if the NFL playoffs was tomorrow, the Patriots would be in the playoffs, right? Let me just put that out there one time. But I can't tell you the last time I reached halftime in an NFL game, I've fallen asleep in the morning watching the Prem. I didn't see NBA in a long time because that is go too late. CPL, by the time the first side reach about 18 overs, I didn't sleep and I had to see the score in the morning. But the Soca Warriors, I stayed up and make sure I put things in place. I sleep downstairs. I make sure everything in place so I could take in the Soca Warriors. Soca Warriors, if you don't know, playing in the Nations League. And the first game they had to play was against Honduras. This is coming off the heels of the dismissal of the great Angus Eve. Salute to Angus on everything you've done for us so far. One of the stranger decisions I've seen. I will admit that the last time I went to the stadium to watch Soca Warriors play, I was a little confused as to what the strategy was and what we was going after when I was watching Angus and I play, because we play Grenada and we was just taking route one and boom the ball up the field. All of social media calling it Stoke City football. If you know football, you're supposed to know what that is, right? And people was upset. We also went and beat somebody about 6-1 or 7-1. So I tell nowhere in my mind I thought Angus would have get fired. But he was. And the caretaker coach now is Derek King. So we all waiting to see what is Derek King's first outing going to be like, right? And I'm not going to come here and knock Derek King because, again, I'm back in the Warriors. We have a game tonight in Tobago. I would have liked to go to Tobago and take in this game, and see the store before the construction and all that. But Tobago, they will probably just disrupt my week too much. I would have loved to just be there for the night, taking that game and come back. But too much going on for that. I don't like to miss Soca Warriors play when they're down here. And I love going to that Dwight York Stadium in Bacolod. That stadium is a vibe. And with Kevin Showtime Woodley, Tobago's great hope, you know what I mean? Woodley's about 50, you know. But I figured the turnout would be real good in the stadium tonight too, and I would have liked to be there. But moving forward, we'll be looking at this first game against Honduras. And during this international break, a lot of teams have 2 games, a home game and an away game. I would have think that when you go to the away game, like a point is a big win. If you just draw the game, you could get a big. I mean, if you win the game, that's great. But Derek King went in assuring that the team was going to take 3 points and all these nice things. And when I watched the game, he said 35 minutes, right? He said before the game. But, we was good for a little while. It looked like a different team for a little bit, where we seemed to be in better control of the ball. And a little more attacking football, which is, I guess, what people wanted. But if I'm hardly being a coach or expert in football, right? Far from, but I would have think that what we play in the first couple minutes or the first part of the game is how you want to play in the last part of the game if you're still 0-0 in our away game. But who the hell am I? Let me just read the people article. This is from Ronnie Walcott. Soca Warriors whipped 4-0 by Honduras in CONCACAF Nations League opener. Before the Soca Warriors open match, forward Ryan Telfer urged the team to show no fear in the hostile environment, and caretaker coach Derek King assuring his team will take 3 points in the contest. I don't know if that's the best thing to do as a brand new coach and a caretaker coach at that, to go in there guaranteeing wins in a game that you don't really need to win. But referee Tori Penso blew her whistle at the end of 90 minutes, and Trinidad and Tobago were played off the park at the Estadio Nacional Chelato Ucles in Tecapalugulacapa, Honduras, as they felt a heavy 4-0 loss. With attack-minded 4-4-2, let me not bore you with all the football details, right? What happened in the game is that we was holding it for a little while. We can see the unfortunate goal, a footballing goal, you know what I mean? A little deflection on its score. And then after that, Alvin Jones get a little bit of a knock on the field, and then they rush down his side and they score again. And I'll tell you, like, we never look good. We never look good beyond that little spell we had initially. We never recover. We never looked like if we was going to recover. The men had about 100 shots on goal. I think we had 2. As a matter of fact, very early in the game, we had a chance that we should have put away, and we didn't. But that not giving me, the way we play, not showing me any indication that if we went up 1-0, we could have hold on to that lead and win the game. That team didn't look like it had what it take to play the kind of football that he wants to play. But again, I'm behind Derek King 100%, and I want to see a great result tonight in Bacolod. Right? I want to see them beat people very, very, very bad. I don't think, again, when you're going into a 2-leg, you had to study the spirit of the team going into the second leg, and we have French Guiana tonight. I'm hoping that the team, they take that 4-0 loss and they say they're coming out for vengeance against French Guiana, because even if you play a away game and you lose, what you don't want to do is lose big, like 4-0, and make goal difference a factor and all that. But we backing him 100%. I just want to say on record too that you have a coach who was playing ugly football and not losing, right? He was drawing or winning most of his games, right? He's the first coach that has had anything resembling a good record for must say a decade, if so short. And we fire him for a man who going on in a two-leg thing, you know what I mean? You're going away and lost 4-0. And I know that the under 14 boys and them just went and played French Guiana and lost out to them recently. So I don't know how much pedigree French Guiana have at the senior level. But I'm hoping for Trinidad and Tobago's sake for sure, but for Derek King's sake as well, that we have a good, solid game against French Guiana and beat them handily. Because it's not going to look good if we fire a coach who doesn't lose these kind of games. It might be ugly. He might pick all kind of different team. Every time he play, you have a different squad and and it's Stoke City football and thing. But he wasn't losing. And he wasn't losing no 4-0 nowhere. But let's see. Hopefully we have a different story to tell next week. But in good news and in great news, Paralympic athlete Akeem Stewart, who recently won a silver medal at the Paris Paralympics Games 2024, will be receiving a $150,000 grant from the Ministry of Sports and Community Development. In a release yesterday, the ministry stated that Sports and Community Development Minister Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis continues to recognize Stewart's silver medal performance, and the grant was in recognition of his outstanding achievement. The ministry explained the grant is part of the National Incentive and Rewards Framework, a policy designed to honor athletes who achieve medals at the highest levels of international competition in various sports. In 2019, Akeem received $450,000 for his gold medal in the Olympics in the javelin and silver. $450. Oh, you know what I'm thinking right now? Because me, with the way I just read and them kind of thing, I should be able to get into a little, I should be able to get into a little Paralympics and all. You ever see me play football? I sure I could make a Paralympics football. So there's enough wrong with me today. In 2020, he received 181,000. This man a millionaire. In 2020, he received 181,000 for achieving gold in the discus and a silver in the javelin. In 2024, he received 37,500 for his gold medal. Olio, have a plan. Have a plan. I'm working on something. I let it be known now. They go support me. I need as much support as I could get. Because we gotta scam the thing. We gotta scam it. I don't tell Oli in this episode. I have some big shot friends in some high places and thing. We gotta do a little bit of scamming because me ain't work so hard. Not that taking anything, and again, salute to Akeem with all the joke that I'm making. He has been a great representative for Trinidad and Tobago in the Paralympics over the years. I think he's the most recognizable face in the Paralympics, and I might go as far as to say he's one of the most recognized Olympians we have as a whole. Been there and doing it for a long time. So salute to him on his millionaire status. But we got to try something. We got to work something out. Hey, I'll even only with a couple. I have one from Poser that I want to play here as well. That this is what I thought would have happened when I come in town, but it really didn't work out that way at all.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, da, 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 da.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
She say I leave in the baby, but I'm making sure his teeth don't make her ready. Robbie, since we married, you never take me to a party. He's always merry. You see Bobby, baby, I'm going out and party. But things start changing. Robbie, I ain't joking. It's my time for fetting. I'm going and party tonight. I go break down tonight. And tonight seems just right. She said tonight is really my night. I'm going and party tonight. I go break down tonight. Man, tonight seems just right. She said tonight is really my night. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, the dogs ain't no problem. I don't cook their food for them, but you go feed them and clean them. I do all the housework. I make sure I'm not cook. You nasty old crook. I water the garden. Don't even care what happen. You're good for nothing.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
She said, Robbie, darling, you ain't got no feeling, but I'm gonna teach you something. I'm going and party tonight. I will break down tonight. And tonight seems right. She said tonight is really my night. I'm going and party tonight. I will break down tonight.
Happy birthday to the great Sylvester Poser Lockhart. In loving memory and dedication to the great Roy Cape, who would mean so much to so much of us. I want to play two artists here to close off this episode. That was men under Roy Cape or men who, well, the first one I want to play who is called Roy Cape his father. Where a man who you're going to meet by now. Two of the men must link up, and I can't imagine the tightness of the embrace that must happen when Roy Cape meet blacks up in heaven.
Whoa!
Them men must hear like go up to now. I can't imagine what it was like when that gate open and that man see Pappy. And if I know the way things go right, this man asked this question since in the 80s, 87 to be exact. This man asked this question. He said he want a day where he could be Peter. And it have a day that he would have wanted to be Peter more than the day that Roy Cape leave us and come and join him.
Begging the master, give me a walk with Peter. If I some sinners coming, with them I go be dealing. Because the things that they do me, I want to fix them personally. Peter wait, Peter look Cecil Rhodes by the gate. Funny. Peter look the Englishman, we send Cecil Rhodes to Africa land. Funny. Peter take Drake, take Raleigh, but leave Victoria for me. Peter, I just don't care what you say, but Mussolini, he can't get away. Why?
This is my time for money.
I'm burning.
Fire blazing.
Blazing.
This is your time for money.
I'm burning.
Fire coming.
Undergo from these madman and woman. I feel the full weight of the hand. They made the oppressed law. They never care about the poor. Peter, these people had a day. Well, now it's time for Stalin to play. Peter, wait, I say Peter, wait. Peter, look, Ian Smith by the gate.
Funny.
Peter, I don't want you to make fuss. Remember, I want Christopher Columbus.
Funny.
Peter, look, the English woman who on South Africa refused to put sanctions.
Punching.
Peter, I just don't care what you do, but Reagan going in the fire too.
Funny.
Why?
This is my time for money. Keep fire blazing.
Blazing.
This is your time for money. Peter, look at Pappy coming. I'll see you all next week. Have a safe week. Have a productive week. Take care of yourself. I will talk to all you soon.